So it's been a minute, and as you can see, I've decided to give up on the path of Gran Turismo, and instead I've joined ASSETTO Corsa Competizione, which in my circles is the current hype at the moment. And this game is absolutely fantastic. I do quite enjoy it a bit, but at this moment in time, much like Gran Turismo 7, I'm pretty slow. But of course, with a new game comes new hope that I can do something better than I did in the last part. And this time around, this episode, I'm going to be choosing the car that I wish to drive with moving forward, and hopefully I do not suck at this game. For anyone who followed my Gran Turismo 7 journey, you know that I decided to exclusively drive the Honda NSX. That didn't go so well, and this is the last video that I posted and the last time that I played Gran Turismo 7. Now, with ACC, I'm deciding to join a community which is low fuel motorsport. Everyone's playing it, and I've decided that I'm going to be part of this community as well. And there's one thing that you need to do to qualify for this community. You need to drive around Snetterton for 7 laps in a row, valid laps, and you need to aim for a certain time. If you mess up any lap, then you pretty much have to start again from scratch. Now, before we begin anything else, let's play a game of which car has the best back. I'll review my choice at the end of the video. So, I've decided to set 2 rules for this challenge. Now, number 1 is aggressive preset only, meaning that I can choose aggressive preset as the setup, but I can't change it at all. Number 2 is invalid laps end the run. So at that point, if I don't set a time for a car, then it's pretty much over and it's disqualified. The target time is 150 dead. And to not waste any time, here are the cars that were DOA, dead on arrival. I absolutely did not like these cars. They were garbage to drive, and in my opinion, yeah, there's really no point in even showing you any of the footage that I had in these cars.
He tried to kill me!
In a desperate attempt to add the minions in my video in some way, shape or form, not that I even care about them, I named this category He Tried to Kill Me, and that's every car that I crashed in badly. Now, many people say that the Bentley is an absolute treat and basically it's an easy car for beginners. Those people have not met me. As you can see there, not a good time for me, and that was the first Bentley that you just saw. This was the second, got through turn 3, and that happened as well. And can we take a minute to talk about how the visibility in the Bentley is like looking through a letterbox? How do people see in that car? Now, this next piece of footage absolutely broke my heart. As you can see, it's the one and only NSX, and things were going well, or at least I thought they were going well, and unfortunately, it's at this moment in time that I realize I'm saying goodbye to one of my dearest. From a car that I love to a car that I despise. There's something about the Nissan GTR which just does not vibe well with me. The 2 Nissans in this game had the same livery, so I'm just showing you one. But basically both ended up exactly like this. So the Porsche is a car that I have heard is difficult to drive but very rewarding and very quick. Now, much like the Bentley and the Nissan, I couldn't drive this car either. Now, all 3 of these cars are cars that people say are good. Regardless, none of these cars managed to set a time, so shame, they're gone. Next up is the slow category. Now, these are cars that managed to set a lap, at least one, but for whatever reason, I just could not extract the pace from them. So we've got the BMW M4 first, and as you can see here, it's a 151.7. Next up came the Ferrari 488. Now with this car, it felt decent, but I know for a fact it's just that I was driving poorly. Unfortunately, I did have invalid laps after this and I had to end their run, but yeah, it came at 151.1. Definitely could have been better. This might as well have ended up on dead on arrival because I could do laps, but it was just really slow. So that's the McLaren.
Always vibe. You pass.
Well, some of these cars, Lamborghini could have landed on He Tried to Kill Me, but I managed to set a lap time. But other than that, it was iffy. 149.8. Next up is the McLaren 720S, and this car felt amazing to drive, but again could not extract the pace from this car either, but it passed, as you can see. And for the Mercedes AMG, we've got a 149.8, which again, that works out alright. Ferrari, now here is like a little montage of the Ferrari, not even a montage, just a sped up few laps of Ferrari. First and foremost, you get to see the whole track, because I still haven't shown it until this point in this video. But the reason why I've done all this is because I think I could lap for days in this car. I loved driving it around. It felt pretty good to drive. Rarely did I lose control or feel like I'm going to lose control. It just didn't have the biggest pace compared to the other cars, but outside of that, I kind of wished that this would win, because I did like it quite a bit. And we've got the Aston Martin Vantage. This is another car that I do love, and I wish kind of could win. I was going to show you a sped up lap as well, but I wanted to show you a few things that happened through the lap, which is right here. Went too deep on the brakes in turn 2, and unfortunately that probably lost me some time. We'll speed it up a little bit more onto the next moment that I had a moment, and it was through here, in which, as you can see there, I have a little wobble, and again that would have cost me a fair amount of time, because this is leading up to the straight, so I didn't come into the straight with a perfect amount of speed. And for the rest of the lap, done it okay, or at least, well, to my standards, okay. And I was kind of shocked to drive through the finish straight, and it's a 149.6, which means I could have been fairly faster. And now we've got the Audi R8 Evo 2. Now this car is a car in which I think it's slightly slower than the first Evo, which is kind of a spoiler as to which car wins, because you haven't seen it yet. But it's slightly slower than the first Evo, 148.7. I was shocked at these times, because until this point I'd been getting 149s. And of course this leads us to our winner, which is the Audi R8 Evo. Now this car, it took a lot of mistakes that I was making and just kind of, it gave me a huge margin for error. I'm just showing you in all its glory, because in all honesty, this is a nice looking car. It's a nice looking livery as well. I do prefer the colors of the Evo 2, but I believe that this car is slightly faster than the Evo 2 purely because of the rear wing. I think the Audi Evo 2 has more drag, so when it comes to the straight it doesn't go as quick. It's a lot more stable though, but yeah, I just managed to drive this car a lot better. Now the first lap that I done was a 150 dead, so it passed in that case anyway. That was literally the first ever lap I done. And the second lap, it just went swimmingly, if I'm honest. Now I'm gonna keep quiet at this point and just let the lap play on. So coming across the line at a 148.6, this was quite the shock to me because, like I say, this was the second lap that I ever had in this car, and before this, well, when I first started on this track, I was doing 152, 153 in that kind of bracket. So I've improved leaps and bounds from where I started on Snetterton to where I am now, and 148.6 on the second lap with this car tells me that I probably could have gotten a lot better of a time if I practiced exclusively in this car. Now, driving every single one of these cars obviously isn't the best way to choose your car, well, back to back anyway, because you don't practice enough on one, but I'm happy that I've got a car that I can drive quickly right on the offset. So, the winner of this video is the Audi R8 Evo, and I guess this is the car that I'll be moving forward with from now on. And harking back to the question that I asked at the start, what car has the best back? My reveal is going to be the McLaren 720. The curves on this car are insane, and in all honesty, I think when I first saw the car, I didn't really like the look compared to the 650, but it grew on me and it actually got better the more I saw it. So well done, McLaren. Anyone else wants to chime in, feel free, but that will be all for today.